So the questions were posed to try and get more in depth about the situation Middle. And if I strip away the awesomeness that I saw and the high hill, like the emotional side that I'm attached to, um, with how that community I see coming back really soon. If I just look at the situation for what it is right now, it's a pretty straight up example of how we get pushed out as Hawaiians. Um, Miluli is so desolate. It's exactly the opposite side of the island from me. So to me, it's the farthest place I have to drive, no matter which way, which direction I go. Um, and so for me, that puts it into some places like, wow, that's really far. It's 2.5 hours without traffic to get there from my house. And um, when I first got there, I haven't been there since I was like 12 or 13, camping there with my dad. I couldn't even really remember if I knew where the road, where the turn off for go was. Um, I wasn't. I was hoping and praying to get one sign because otherwise it's gonna take me another half an hour to find out where and turn off the wrong place. But we got there and we started driving down the road, and immediately you see almost two different communities. And uh, I always remember Milili like just black desert, lava rock, and that's just from what I remember when I was 12 or 13. Um, but that's all I remember. Never even had houses, and I still get the same houses that I remember there from last time, except now I get more cars that broken, just sitting around, and probably because I think we died down there and cost too much money for getting back on the road. And so when you're going down Miloli, you get this new community on the right hand side. I guess that's the north side. And then as you go further down, you can see the old Miloli kind of off to the side. And you're going down the hill and on the road, and you're asking yourself like, wow, who's these people that have enough money to build these nice houses, boy? Nice. One of them had river rock pillars in the front yard, and I was like, wow, that rock don't come from here. I wonder where, you have to go all the way down to the beach or someplace else to get that rock, bring them over here. Um, Real nice houses, get money being poured in, and get a new community center, they get one fence and stuff in the front. Well, it's coming up, it's not finished yet. And you drive into Miloli'i, and after talking with Kaimi guys, the charter school that they get is kind of off of the old part of the old community center, and it's really just a derelict classroom, and get kind of holes in the walls, and it's all weather beaten. And some of the houses get nice yard and nice plants on the side, and trees and stuff coming up, and you can tell that they've been handling. They put work into their place to make them look nice. And then there's all ironwoods that are growing kind of wild and crazy on the one side, and then the other side is the beach, and everything is just kind of overgrown. Like not really sure what to do with them or how that works. So they get plenty of just dead wood lying around, and move around and make biochar and all of that. And the biochar will bring back the soil to life and put the carbon back into the soil, and we sequester it that way. And so that's one carbon neutral activity we can do, or carbon negative activity we can do, to do our part in the whole global climate change problem. Because we're an island, let's face it. I mean, the ocean rising isn't a big deal to us. Should be one big deal to us. Our coral reefs dying should be one big deal to us. It's the life for all of the fish and all of the limu that's supposed to grow down there. And they suck up a lot of nutrients that shouldn't be down there, so it's safe for us. And they're not doing their job anymore. So the ocean is getting kind of unsafe for us. And you see that in the staph infections and in in the testing that they do with water quality testing and how many parts per million get fecal matter, and now the thing is sort of staph infections going with it. Um, how are we gonna fix it? Biochar. You know, all the stuff, all the driftwood lying around, biochar. A lot of ironwoods that is acidifying the soil because all the ironwood trees, they drop these pine needles that heavy in these alkali, not alkali, these tars and oils, so it acidifies the soil over time and makes it so that the soil really not all that good to grow in unless you know how to utilize these nutrients. All of that could be used and turned into energy and made fresh water, because down there fresh water is a problem. You gotta truck water down. There's little to no electricity. They rely on solar panels. Um, the cistern going crack inside, so they're not really catching water, which that's a problem. You know, they have the coral to do it. You fire up the coral that's dead on the rocks, and you can turn that into your own kind of native cement. We just need to understand in a real practical level what it is that's around us and how best to utilize it. You know, even if we let the biochar go and we turn them into ash, that's alright. We can still use the ash to make soap, right? You mix that with all the fat that everybody throwing away in McDonald's and all the places that they use in every day, and I mean, we could be making positive stuff out of that, because where else is it going anyway? Where are we putting it? Back into the landfill? In Hilo, that's actually poisoning Kilkaha and the places that are around it, because it doesn't have a liner underneath it. So those things leaching directly into that water supply. How long is it gonna take before Kilkaha Panaeva starts going through the roof and cancer and other kind of free radical, maybe even in the form of what they call those autoimmune disorders and those diseases? How long is it gonna take before we start seeing the population of Kilkaha failing to those kinds of health defects? My speculation, not 2 or 3 more generations, and we're gonna see that kind of stuff in numbers so great that, you know, we gotta start putting the pieces together. Because a plantation did the same thing to us. You look at the cancer levels in Pepeekeo, where I grew up. My sister had cancer when I was 4 years old. We grew up with that. I mean, I know there's other people very close that can speak exactly to those detriments of those diseases. So, and then how does that affect the community in turn, and, you know, exponential from there, right? So, getting back to Miloli, you know, yeah, the electricity could come from biochar and the creation of biochar. The water could be turned into fresh, clean water just by heating it up and steaming it through and essentially distilling it. And at the end, you get salt, right? The pamka you can use to preserve the opelu. Bring back that practice of Miloli. Long time ago, they talk about these families having relationships with the fish out there, and they would feed the fish, and every family had a different length rope, because your school would stay at its various heights in the ocean. So these families would go out and they would paddle out either Mano Opelu, which is one strain of kalo named specifically for feed Opelu, and they would feed like pumpkins to the fish. A lot of these orange flesh varieties for some reason. I still like looking into that, because anthocyanins, which are purple, have some effect on the body that's being recognized by Western science and studied now. I want to see if maybe the orange gets something in them that has similar effects, right? Because Olana, we love that as Kanaka. So I like see how somebody say. Anyway, so growing the pumpkins and stuff down there, you know, doesn't matter how big or how small, everything can be fed to the fish. So as the soil gets better, because we're adding biochar and accumulating those nutrients over time and sequestering that carbon and doing our part, then those crops get better and better over time. So the families that now can benefit off of feeding the opelu in that welt type of system, right? Keeping the cost low, keeping the overhead low, so anything above that is profit. If you're looking at it that way, then the pumpkin and how they're getting their feed, that's one big problem with industry right now. Feed, where does feed come from? How is it produced? How does it get transported? If we can figure out our own feed, then we've done half of the job for them, and we're benefiting from it directly ourselves.